Today we're back to do our colored pencils and Posca pens on our watercolor images. If you look at Merry Christmas, there are two of them here, and they look different. Every time you do one, they're a little bit different. The difference between these are the backgrounds. This one has a lot more water that I used on it. This one, I didn't have nearly as much water for that background, but that's all those needed. Now they'll just be matted, and we'll add them to the cards. So Merry Christmas is good. It's all done. And so now we're going to color pencil our tree. So I always like to have a little piece of paper next to me to try out the colors of my colored pencils, to see what color I really want to use, what it's going to look like. That one is a little bit blue. This one's greener, so I'm going to go with the greener. I didn't color two of the tree, so I'm just going to take my pencil in and go down on the sides of these lines. It's looking like maybe I need to sharpen that pencil. Then I'm going to try a different color. I might like that one. Oh, that one does not show up. So I will go back to this darker green. Depends on the shade that you get with your watercolors, what you're going to need. Now I do have a pencil sharpener. I like this little one. And it works good. These are the Leisure Art premium colored pencils, which I really like. I'm just going to go around all of these circles on the inside of the branches here. Give those more definition. Then I think I will come back in and go down the sides of all of these branches with the same color. Going to come along the bottom. And then I'm also going to take my brown colored pencil. Check that out. I have several. Oh, I like that last one the best. Come down the lines here to give it a little more definition. Okay, now I'm going to take my trusty Posca pen, and I'm going to come down, my branches. Going to go inside of all of my darker circles that I made. I'm going to come down Make sure I've got my pen flowing. Try to not go too fast because then my lines get too skinny. And then I'm going to come back in with that green, and I think I'll make these into, and everything should be so they look more plaid. Okay, there, I've got my tree done. I'm ready to move on with something else. So let's take a look at our little gnome, and I'm going to add Jane Davenport's gold to his top and give it some glitter. Going to work with my Posca pen again and add dots up here at the top. Going to put lines down through his hat. Going to come back over these dots and cover them with white. And then I'm going to come down here with lines on his hat, and then I'm going to look for the red that I like the best. I think that's a pretty good red. Okay, I'm going to come down and go around the outside edges to give this definition. Come down on this side, go around the edges. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the dots on the tree. I'm going to circle all of those with my darker red. You can embellish any way that you prefer, but it just adds so much more definition to the look of the little gnome that we're doing. And then I'm going to come back in with my Posca pen, and I'm going to dot his sleeves. Whoa. Okay, I think that's all we need to do on him. And now he's embellished, so we'll move him over. We've got both Merry Christmases taken care of. So now here are my two little reindeer. And if you look on this one, this is just the gray watercolor, but I did bring home a silver glitter Jane Davenport pen, and I hope you can see the difference on those two. I really like that. And so then the next thing I'm going to do is take my brown, and let's see if I want to use the same brown I did before. Again, these are my Leisure Arts colors. And I'm just going to go in, do a little highlight up here on his ear, another little highlight over here on his ear, a little bit of a highlight here on his tail, but I want to leave that white there. I'm going to come down here at the side of his body and do a darker highlight and right around that whole entire body, just to give it more definition. Pull a little color in from here. Pull a little color in from here. Add a little more color in there. Add some more color down his legs. Now you can see the difference between those two. I think I need to add a little more definition around his head. Not very much, just a little. Just one soft line there. I like the definition a little bit better here. Maybe even add a little more color to his nose. I think his ears are good. I do want to add a little more color to the poinsettia. We could add just a little bit of color to the leaves. And I think we're good. You can kind of see the difference between those two. I am going to come back in and maybe I'll try. I got me a new red glitter pen. Oh, I got me a new gold one too. Oh, whoops, that was a big blob. Pushed too hard on that. Hold on a second. Well, let me try this. That would have been better gold. But I will come back in and fix that. That was a blobby mistake. Should have been more careful with that. Okay, now you know. Be a lot more careful. Okay, so there's those two. We'll set those two aside. And I'll turn this mess around here. And if I can find my rag. My paper towel, actually. I'm going to soak up that mess so I do not accidentally stick my hand in it. Now you'll see what a shiny mess that is, but it's no longer for me to put my hand in it. Okay, so here's these two guys, and you'll see I didn't color either one of them exactly the same. Hats are different colors. Scarves are okay. Now I'm going to go to my blues and decide which blue I want to use on his hat. That one may not be dark enough. That's the one we're going to need. So, take and add the definition here. Here, and here, and here. And I think I'll take this green and add a little more definition here, blend those colors. I'm going to take and put some lines through this part of his hat. Okay, you can see how much that adds. I like that definition. And then I'm going to go after the purple, test my purple again, and color in the scarf. You can see that really changes the look of that scarf. So you have to choose, when you're coloring, you have to choose what you think is going to look the best and what your desire is. So on the scarf, I actually not quite finished. I'm going to go around these edges. If you can hear that sound, that's my printer deciding to. I'm going to come back in with lines. Boy, my hand's not as steady tonight. My lines are, this scarf is not exactly equal. Whoops, I apologize, I hit the camera. Okay, I think he's looking pretty good, except maybe he needs a little helping hand. I don't know, maybe his hands... Whoa, I did that again. Hit the camera. Sorry. I think I'll just add a little brown to his arms. Okay, is there anything that I need to do differently on him? No, I think he's pretty good. So you can see the difference between the colored pencil before and after. Okay, so we'll move on to the reindeer. Now, remember when these get a little bit bent because of the watercolor, and I just use my hand as an iron and iron them out. And I'm thinking I'm going to need the darker brown on the reindeer. So just going to put a little brown there on his nose, and I'm going to put a little brown on his tail, and then I'm just going to make some fun designs on his rear end here. Oh, and I hit the camera again. It's right on top of my forehead. I'm trying a new position for it tonight. Not sure it's working out great, but giving it a try. Coming back in with some swirls. Gonna come down and do some definitions on these legs, just so there's a little more depth. Coming up with a swirl. Coming around with a swirl. Coming down with a swirl. Coming down with a swirl. Okay. Before and after, I think he looks pretty cool. I think that's all we need to do. Might want to adjust. Okay, so that's our deer, embellished. Okay, so now we have our two joys. And on the joy, I'm going to take the red again and go around the outside of the O and make that a little bit darker. See if I can keep my head off the camera. I think we'll Do it on the inside as well. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the outside of these other two letters. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with my Posca pen, and I'm going to add, whoops, I keep shaking that camera, definition to the leaves. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to retrace the black lines, but I'm going to do it with white. Whoops, so sorry. I got to figure out a new way. Keep touching that camera. Before I wasn't near the camera, but it kept going sideways on me. So try a new way to get it to stay horizontal. If it does that, then I've just got to condition myself to know that I can get too close. So just retrace the lines. Since my cataract surgery, I can't see close up like I used to could. So I'm always trying to see where I could before the surgery, and that doesn't always work well. Okay, so here's our before, here's our after, and now let's see if I can take the Posca pen without getting too much mess and do those berries right there. Okay, so then I think that one's good to go. So you could come back and do more on the inside. Here's one I did before, and but I think I'm happy with that. So we'll move those over, and here are two of the joy. And so I'm back to my blue pencil. I think the only thing it needs is the definition on the letters. So we'll just do our outlining. I'll go back and watch this video and see how much my head touched that camera and made it shake a little. And I think I'm going to come down just a little with the colored pencil. A little more on the side. there's the difference between those two. And here was one I did the other day. And I'm just trying to see if there's, every time you paint, you do differently. See if there's something that I should do differently. I think what I tried to do on this one, and I'm going to try it here, if I can find what I just did with my Posca pen, is I think went down the side there, did a couple of lines down here, tried to do a few lines coming down there. I think I'll call that good. And there's the difference between those two. Okay, next time we'll be back to put them into a card. All right, have a great evening.